All right, class, we've made it. We are at the last, I have to see myself so I can see I'm on camera. We are at the very last section of our semester, and this is 13.2. So these are the applications, the business applications that we're going to use. Now, we're only going to cover 2 business applications, so it's a very short homework assignment in my math lab. And the only 2 things we're going to cover is consumer surplus and producer surplus. So 2 different things, consumers and surplus, or producer surplus. So this is just an introduction to it, and then I'll make another video on how to do consumer surplus, and then a 3rd video on how to do producer surplus. So this is the premise. So when you have, we'll start with consumer surplus. So this number right here, this is the market price. So this is the value that most businesses are willing to charge for whatever, whatever product they're using. So let me give you an example. So one of my bucket list things that I want to do is I want to see George Strait in concert live. I know he's 67, he's getting up there, so I need to make this happen as soon as possible. So let's say that the market price right now is everything that I've seen. I can get tickets anywhere from $200 to $600, depending on where I want to sit and depending on which venue I'm at. So I'm going to put 200. I'm going to make it a little more. I'm going to put, say, $300. Okay, so that is the cost of the ticket to see George Strait live. This is this value right here. This is the market price. So this is what they can sell the product for. They can sell tickets for $300. Now, the consumer surplus, so let me give you a breakdown of what each of these lines are. So this top line is the demand function. So this is the price at which exactly X tickets will be sold. So this is the demand. So this is the amount of people that are willing to pay a little bit higher, okay, because it's above my market price, it's above my $300. So this is what people are willing to pay, okay? This line, this bottom line, is the supply function. So this is the demand function, this is the supply function. So this supply function is, this is the price at which exactly X units will be supplied. So this is the price that the producers are willing to sell for, right? They can get $300 a ticket for it. But these prices down here are producers that are willing to sell for a little bit less, okay? So up here in this area, I'm going to do it in green. In this area, we have what's called the consumer's surplus. Okay, so in green, this is the consumer surplus. So what this means is, this is the area where we have people that are willing to pay more. So I would be willing to pay up to maybe $500 for a George Strait ticket. It better be a good seat. So I'm willing to pay more. So this is what's considered the consumer's surplus. So what that means is, this is, I'll read it to you. The consumer surplus is the total savings to consumers willing to pay a higher price, but still and would still be willing to purchase. Okay, so let me say that again. This up here, this consumer surplus, this is, basically think of it this way. This is my feel good. I'm willing to pay $500 for a George Strait ticket, but I only have to pay $300. So this consumer surplus, this is my happy number. This is the amount of money that consumers will save, if you will, because they're willing to pay higher, but they don't have to. Okay, so that's consumer surplus. So now we're going to, and if you notice on consumer surplus, the demand function is higher than the market price. Okay, that's going to be important when we set up the formula for consumer surplus. The demand is above the market price. Okay? So now we're going to move down here. Down here, in this area, let's see if I can get it to shade. This great purple pen isn't quite working right. Okay, so this is my, what's called, and I'm going to have to write it in black so you can see it, my producer's surplus. Okay, producer surplus. So let me read you the producer surplus. The producer surplus is the total gain to producers willing to sell at a lower rate. Okay, so they're willing to sell the tickets at a lower rate, but they don't have to. They can get $300 a ticket for it. So this producer surplus, this is the business owner's happy place. They're willing to sell for less, but they don't have to because the demand of the product allows them to sell for a little bit higher. So when you're looking at this, notice this is area, right? So this is all the people that are willing to purchase, right, to consume. For the consumers, they're willing to purchase at a higher price, but they don't have to. The purple area is all the business owners that are willing to sell it for less, but they don't have to. So they really are happy numbers. It's kind of like when I tell my husband that I went shopping and I saved him $100 because something was on sale. Well, I don't have to actually give him the $100. It just makes him happy to think that I saved him $100, okay? So it's the same idea. These are our happy numbers. For consumers, it's people are willing to pay more, but they don't have to. For producers, so business owners, they're willing to sell things for less, but again, they don't have to, okay? So this line right here, when my consumers and my, when my demand and my supply function cross, this point right here is called the equilibrium price demand, okay? So that's the price that will make both the consumers and the producers happy, okay? All right, so that's the basic premise of consumer and producer surplus. Now I'm going to do a second video and I'm going to show you how to calculate the consumer's surplus. All right.